first of those is the Fareham Town Centre regeneration vision for consultation, rolling on from the Porchester one that we had at the last meeting. So I'm going to ask Councillor Trott has asked if you can speak on this, so if you'd like to come and join us, and I'll ask Councillor Evans if you'd introduce the report, please. And there is a sheet as well, page 10, which is part of that report.
Thank you, David. As you just said, tonight we have in front of us to consider, before submission to public scrutiny, the very key element in the process of writing a new borough plan, and that's the draft vision for the town centre. Now, of course, just to remind everyone that the core and in fact the imperative for the new borough plan is to show how and when and where we will meet our housing and employment requirements through to 2036. In housing terms, that's an extra 2,000 homes over those we identified in the 2010 borough plan, the one against which we're currently reviewing planning applications. And I think it's worthwhile just reminding members that these numbers are determined, they are calculated based upon government guidelines. We need to have a borough plan. There are statutory obligations in terms of both the numbers and the plan, and we cannot just stand back and say we will have no more housing, no matter what some people may say. It's really quite a misleading statement. What we can do is work out the best possible way to incorporate those additional funds within the existing borough. Now, a very key and very fundamental aspect of developing any new borough plan is to examine and determine to what extent and how the housing and employment needs can be met from within the existing urban boundary. That is from existing brownfield sites where, let's not forget, there is a basic assumption of planning approval, whether we put them into our plan or not. Now, when developing our overall approach to the plan rewrite, we identified Porchester District Centre and the Town Centre as two specific areas where we thought there could be some existing urban area redevelopment. And we established a member of working groups to consider and discuss the different opportunities that might exist. And my thanks to the Town Centre member working group for their comments and contributions that have helped so much in terms of the vision we have in front of us today. Now, very clearly, when we look at in-depth reviews of an area for the purposes of additional housing and additional employment, it's quite natural and in fact essential that we include some thought and considerations about sustainability and the opportunities or impacts into the existing use of those areas, to think about what could be achieved because of or alongside any redevelopment, and the longer term need for matters such as car parking, community facilities and leisure activities. In the case of Fareham Town Centre, we are, I guess, all only too well aware of changing shopping trends, the potential adverse trading impact from new shopping areas, and so some of our ancillary thinking has been about how could the town centre provide additional housing, but also alongside that become more attractive for local residents to visit and to spend time shopping and to spend time on leisure activities. In terms of consultation to date, we have, in addition to discussions with the member working group, we've spoken to some members of the town centre community, and some of the comments we've received so far are about parking. We need to make it easier to find. Cost can be an issue, and it's helpful to have it close to shops. It needs to be close to the shops. For housing, the general agreement that we do need more housing and the town centre is a good location. However, there are questions about impacts on road traffic and on parking and on local services. Small businesses like the town centre and said that improvements in recent years have been good, but they recognise the changing shopping trends and said that trade and the range of shops had both reduced, and that parking and signing could be improved. But they did express some concerns about additional residential and any perceived increase in antisocial behaviour. When we spoke to people about the use of the town centre, they said they may use the town centre for shopping or to visit friends. They think the centre is quite welcoming and the summer flowers were attractive. However, places like Whiteley offer more, particularly with nightlife. So this document we have before us does, in summary, bring together the results of the member working group discussions and the limited public consultation. If it's approved tonight, we will undertake full public consultation on the direction, intention and desires of the document over February and March, leading to a final version in the summer. That document will then feed into both the emerging borough plan and the corporate vision directions. Now, in terms of the structure of the document, we have once again taken great care to produce an easily readable and very understandable document with use of graphics to emphasise and enhance the various points. And once again, I'd like to congratulate our officers for, I think, another excellent job. The document itself subdivides the town centre into 5 geographic areas and then discusses what changes and development could possibly take place. And I think this item here on page 10 is an excellent representation of those 5 areas. Car parking is, of course, an absolute critical infrastructure aspect. Ensuring the council's car parks are sufficient to meet the needs of shoppers and other centre users is an overarching and critical requirement. We have undertaken extensive parking surveys, and suitable provision will be part of the detail in the draft borough plan when it is issued. Excuse me, Chairman, I've still got a tickly throat, it's taking a long while to go. Overall, across the town centre, we believe that suitable, deliverable sites can be found for between 700 and 900 additional homes. So, our vision for the town centre is to use brownfield sites, be flexible in the use of commercial and residential in relation to shops and sites on the edge of the town centre, improve cultural, leisure and retail opportunities, encourage a greater variety of shops, and ensure we've got the right amount of parking in the right place. I won't go through the 5 areas because they're quite well laid out in the report. Other than to comment on one, and that's the civic area. And really what I want to comment on there is in relation to the library and health centre, where there's been some press publicity which have been totally incorrect. We have raised the question with the owners of those 2 sites, and both have said they have no interest at this stage in looking at any redevelopment of those sites. So those sites are not even mentioned in this vision. Whether something happens over the next 20 years, I don't know, but it's not mentioned in this vision. The next steps, if this is approved tonight, will be public consultation, a business breakfast event, stalls in the market, static display in public areas, online comments, and an article in the last issue of Ferrum Today. The final vision report should come to the executive in summary and will then be input to the emerging borough plan and corporate vision document. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I shall end there, listen to the comments, and then I'll recover my voice.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Evans. Councillor Mrs. Trott, would you like to make any comments?
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to begin with a thank you to officers, as in my view, as Councillor Evans has said, this is a well-presented document, which, however, I was rather puzzled by until I spoke to 2 of the planners involved last week. My puzzlement was because it compared with the many hours of quite detailed work undertaken by the officer member working group, it seemed airy-fairy. Now, this included determination that the homes should have adequate parking and a personal open space, unlike so many in places like Park Gate. Claire Burnett explained and emphasised that this is a high-level vision and the details will be forthcoming later after the public consultation, which is explained in paragraph 12, page 23 of this agenda. I have shown the document to a number of residents who agree with me that the set of questions on page 28 of the document are good, as they are open-ended. We would like to know the following. What do you think about the town centre? What don't you like about the town centre? I'm not going to read all 10 questions, but I just want to say that they are good. The final one, what are your thoughts on our draft proposals for civic area, Market Heath, Transport Hub, West Street? This is excellent, so very good. Throughout the document, it is good to see that As we can see on page 2 of the forward, Councillor Evans, sorry, I do beg your pardon. We also welcome your views on anything else you think could lead to positive change for the town centre. This is stated on page 2 of the document. I have discussed with Claire Burnett that it would be a good idea to either separate that sentence, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraph down, or print it in blue as the final paragraph on that page is. Purely from my experience as a teacher, there's a lot of grey type there, and I think that is a good point that is being made. We also welcome your views on anything else which could lead to a positive change for the town centre. Some residents have also complained to me that the old market town of Fareham will be ruined by the large number of homes projected. And everyone who has spoken to me or contacted me is very concerned by the possibility of the flat open car park at Market Quay being replaced by a multi-storey car park. People prefer open flat car parks, it seems. But however, this is a consultation and I'm sure you will have lots of comments on that point. Personally, I do welcome the use of brownfield sites rather than the fields such as Cranley Road and Newlands Farm. Attractive towns such as Bath in the west of England, Bruges and Amsterdam do have taller buildings than those that much of Fareham's West Street has. Older buildings in West Street, for example, are higher than 2 storeys. So I do think people ought to consider that very carefully. This is a vision, but how likely is it to be fulfilled when the government is constantly cutting the money available to councils? What we want to achieve is laudable, as on page 9. Nothing in here addresses the ongoing concerns of residents that local social infrastructure, such as schools, GPs, and the extra burden that these future residents will have on the Queen Alexandra Hospital. But then it's a vision, and I'm sure all of us here are well aware of people's concerns. And I'd like to say, I think this is a good vision, and I do hope many people respond to the consultation, which is well advertised, and I'm pleased to see some things going on in the town centre already. Thank you.
It is a public consultation, and I think while you may say it's airy-fairy, I think it's better written in this way, in this format, because of course we genuinely want to know what people think, and I think if things are all there, excuse the pun, set out in concrete and looking as if it's all been decided, it's all been thought about, then you don't tend to get a particularly positive response. So I think it's actually very, very well written indeed and strikes just the right tone for what it is we want to do. Anyway, other members, I'm sure you used the words airy-fairy,
yes, I did, but I said
Trott.
that was my initial thought, but after talking to Claire Burnett, when she made it very clear that it was a vision.
Okay, well, I think that's why it's called vision, yes. Right, anybody else like to have? Councillor Clark?
You know, I think just very briefly, I think Councillor Evans really made the point. I think housing numbers are very important to us for the reasons you've been given. As you say, this is a vision, it is out for consultation. I think to a certain extent it's a shame that the NHS and the library areas could be a bit more considered, because that would then be a whole plan, I think, but that's probably out of our hands, but now I'm quite happy with it.
Okay, anybody else? Evans, would you like to?
Just pick up on a couple of points from Councillor Mrs. Trott. I'm glad you clarified the airy-fairy, because I was wondering by the time we got to the end of your talk where it came about.
At the beginning, it was my initial view.
But yeah, the point is that this is a top-level vision is absolutely correct. And the benefit of the member working with us was that we did step through every potential site across the town centre. We discussed it, we gave our pros and cons, so that we ended up with a view which said, yes, those sites, provided they're deliverable, could be developed and could generate this amount of housing. In terms of the old Fareham Market Town, yes, it has changed. I don't know what the size of Fareham was 30 or 40 years ago, after this now, so it has changed, and we're reflecting that change now. We do state through here, in terms of the multi-storey, that we do think there are parts of the town where we could deal with 3 or 4 storey properties, and that would blend in quite nicely. In terms of schools, GPs and the QA hospital, these are matters of concern, they're matters of concern to everyone. And I think, as Councillor Mr Trott knows, when it comes to the schools, then the County Education Authority will be primary consultee on this, and certainly they're getting quite good these days of identifying their needs for schooling. When it comes to GPs in NHS, frankly the response is sometimes less than satisfactory, but they are also a statutory consultee. So once we push this together in terms of a borough plan, which will be towards the third, fourth quarter of this year, then they will be one of the statutory consultees on the borough plan and the total directions, and we would look for them to comment back to us. And certainly if they see individual areas where additional GP facilities are needed, it is totally their responsibility to ensure those facilities are provided. It's not a totally joined up process, I accept that, but in terms of being statutory consultees, we do go through that process.
Any other comments from anybody? Okay, then this, which stayed with a draft vision, I guess now it becomes a vision, and we'll put it out for public consultation, and we'll be very interested to see the comments when they come back. So the recommendations agreed. Thank you very much.